Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing rare. Nothing rare, nothing. Nothing, nothing rare. Nothing, nothing rare. Rare, nothing, nothing rare. All right, we're at 65 helmets corrupted. That's a lot of rares, a lot of whites, and a lot of poofs. Next corruption is definitely hitting. 100% has to hit. It has to hit. Come on. Just sit here and just be like, I don't know, stop jerking off every night. Hey guys, you play Among Us recently? Pew, 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 pew. Hello everybody and welcome to a supposedly fun thing that I will never do again. I guess we'll see. Towards the end of the league, I was trying to think of fun things to do, fun corruptions to do, and especially with the build that I'm playing, Forbidden Rite Cast and Critic Cultist, going for +1 power charges on the helmet is worth quite a bit right now. It is, with a decently divined helmet, it's worth about 60 plus exalts. Figured this would be an interesting gamble to see if this feels like it's worth doing. Mathematically, it kind of does work out to being worth doing, but at least my own personal results, I am very much in the red and I did not make any profits. Spoilers. What we did is collected 155 Crowns of the Inward Eye, planned to double corrupt them. We did that about a week and a half ago. That took roughly 6 hours on its own. There was a lot of talking, a lot of chatting with chat. Very, very tedious process. In terms of the investment for doing the double corruption portion of that, we did 155 helmets. We divined all of them up until at least 19% plus. Right on the increased maximum life mana and global energy shield. That does increase the value after the corruption quite a bit. If you take a look when you hit max power charges, if you have at least 19%, it's worth about 60 exalts. But if it's not at 19% plus, it actually goes down to 25 exalts. You can see we got a ton of value out of that. Before the double corruption, we bought the helmets on average for about 30 chaos each. You see there's a couple cheap ones here at 15, but when you're buying them in bulk, that price goes up very, very quickly. You just run out of, you run out of the 15 chaos ones really quickly. And when you're buying multiple hundreds, you can see you get down to 40, 50 plus chaos pretty quickly. So about 30 to 40 chaos per was the average per helmet. And then for a double corrupt temple, it was roughly an exalt. And then we divined them. So we can say it's about 1.5x per helmet that we double corrupted. We double corrupted 155 helmets and we never hit power charge. And that is really the only thing that gives it a ton of value. We spent 6 hours doing that. We never hit +1 power charges. It was just poof after poof after poof. You can see all of the white sockets here, or you can see a bunch of them went rare. That's the results. We did, ironically, get a Warlord with +1 power charges and a Global Crit Strike multi right here. I'm going to use this for accommodating a little bit later, trying to see if we can hit something funny there. You can see if I type power charge, this is the double corrupts. We never hit a single one. We did get 4 that might be worth something. We got max life with cost and reservation. We got that twice. We also got cost and reservation with burning damage and projectile gems with cost and reservation, which really doesn't have too much value, but 155 times 1.5, 232 exalts invested here, roughly, probably a little bit more. And yeah, I don't know, maybe we can sell these for like 10 to 20 each. So yeah, severe loss on the double corrupts. That took like 6 hours. It was tedious. I was going bonkers. Oh, never want to do that again. We went for a single corrupt session. Way less painful, but almost psychologically more damaging because you can see back to back to back the failures over and over and over again. And we got 256 more Crowns of the Inward Eye, about 1.8 quad tabs full of helmets to just use single Vaal orbs. And if we type in implicit here, there's none in this one, I just sorted these tabs. You can see that we ended up with 59 helmets that had implicits, which you can see that we're pretty close to 25% chance to hitting an implicit. And then we got 4 that actually had power charge on that. So with these helmets, each worth about 60 exalts, we do have 2 of them at 21%. So those might be worth a little bit more. Really, no other raw implicit is worth anything. 256 helmets times 30 chaos divided by 170 chaos per exalt, 45 exalts. We spent roughly half an exalt of divines per helmet here before we went for the corrupts. So that is plus 128 exalts there, 173 exalts invested, 240 minus 173. So we're looking at maybe best case about 60 to 70 exalts profit for the single corrupt experiment here. Now, if you think of this in terms of time of divining, trading, etc., heartbreak, emotional damage, you can evaluate whether you think that that's profitable. It clearly is, right? You know, in terms of overall time investment, we're probably looking at about 3 hours, and over 20x an hour profit for 3 hours of doing that feels pretty good. But do remember that for the single corrupt, we're looking at a 1 in 22 chance to hit the power charges. They are all equally weighted, and we have a 1 in 4 of that, right? So 1 divided by 22, then divided by 4 times 100 gives us a 1.136% chance of hitting the power charges on any one Vaal orb. You know, the numbers don't exactly line up there for it to be worth doing. So as you can see, we got extremely lucky hitting 4 of those out of 256, right? We only have an expected 1.14% chance of hitting, and we hit 4 of those in 256. That's incredibly lucky. You know, clearly the numbers here say that this is not profitable. Now, if we didn't divine and these were only worth 25 exalts each, right? So remember, 45 exalts invested in the helmets minus 45 here, we'd actually be 55 exalts profit. Since we got extremely lucky here, this did pay off. But I think in general, it's best to run these numbers and look at the odds and see that, like, you know, much lower risk and reward if you're just immediately corrupting and you're not worrying about dividing them first. It's also much more tedious, of course. You know, with the double corrupts, you can see that we got 40 that had 2 implicits. We got 34 poofs, 40 rares, and 30 white sockets, which you can see that like very closely lines up to a 1 in 4 across the board for all these. So the stats line up very cleanly. Honestly, we got pretty unlucky with the double corrupts here because since it's choosing 2, you know, since it's 1 out of 22 and then 1 out of 21 for choosing the double implicits, I think here statistically we did get pretty unlucky. But in terms of the actual results, you know, it tracks with what we assume to be 1 out of 4 chance for each one of these outcomes. So with all that said, on average, we did get incredibly lucky on the single corrupts. We got moderately unlucky, but not super unlucky on the double corrupts. Just, you know, is what it is. But since the double corrupts, we invested so much. That was a gigantic net loss. Like, best case, we were like negative 100x. Probably more like negative 180x. On the double corrupt investment, I do not recommend doing that. Whereas with the single corrupt, with getting, you know, pretty lucky, we are 60 to 70 exalts into the black in profitability there. We're minus a bunch of exalts, but that's okay. That's what the corrupting is. That's what the fun is. Yeah, make do with this as you will with this information. Maybe this will inspire you to do some corrupts in the future, or maybe this will discourage you and help you make better financial choices than I have in the past couple weeks. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye.